Hello and welcome to the 11th episode of the Bucket Lounge podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Garcia. Joining me today, making his debut, Jaden Rader, a friend of mine, also a co-worker of mine with the LA Clippers. What's going on, Jaden?
Yo, what's up, Brandon? What up? What up? Happy to be here, man. Happy to be a part of this, dude. It's gonna be fun. I'm glad we're finally able to do this, dude.
It's just awesome how we crossed paths too, just working with the Clippers, and just so happened we like the same football team, which is the Raiders.
Yeah.
The basketball team, you're a Clipper fan. You're a diehard Clipper fan, so
We're iffy on that for sure, but I think the Raiders kind of even it out for us,
it does.
I mean,
It's a good balance.
like if you didn't like the Raiders, bro, I'd probably just straight up hate you. But we make it work.
All right, awesome, bro. So let's get right into it, bro. So today we had a lot of basketball games, and we had a couple almost 50 pieces. One of the 50 pieces was Devin Booker. He does this every now and then. He scored 72 before.
Crazy.
They haven't played with CP3 in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
No problem for the Suns. Is it a fair question or a fair statement to say that if they can get back to the NBA Finals?
Well, this team, it's really up and down. Their talent, they have talent front to back. They're deep. They're deep for sure. Like Mikal Bridges, you can throw Devin in there. You got the centers. You got it all. It's hard for me to buy in. Because that year they went to the finals. I mean, I don't want to say it was an easy path. I mean, they avoided every team they played. They had their big names gone in the team they're playing. Like I don't know, you remember that? I mean, they had Denver without Jamal Murray. They had the Clippers without Kawhi.
Lakers without AD.
Exactly. But I'm not going to sit here and just say like that's excuses. This year, looking at this team now, they're really talented, and I think that they're doing this without Chris Paul because I feel like that was a complaint with a lot of people. Without Chris Paul, Booker's nothing. Look at this guy; he just dropped 51. He's exactly.
Aiden had 32.
Yeah, I mean, he's you got Booker, and Booker. I mean, I like Booker. I like Booker a lot. I'm gonna diss on him every now and then. But he's talented. And I think he can carry this team to another finals, considering what the West is looking like so far.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're without Chris Paul, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think for a team that, for me, they were my favorites to go to the finals last year before they got embarrassed by the Dallas Mavericks. And I think that's a good thing for them because I think with every great player, every great team, they have to go through some adversity where it's like, look at Michael Jordan, how he got bounced out by the bad boy Pistons, and it's just an obstacle they overcome. And dude, this might be the year, man. I think it's good for them too to be under the radar because a lot of teams that have the spotlight on them, and they're a young team too. So this was the first time they got a taste of success. I could definitely see them being the favorite to come out the West again. I just hope that Cameron Johnson can come back healthy because he's missing some time. I hope they can figure out what's going on with Jay Crowder because that's a big piece. That's a guy that was getting paid a decent amount of money and was a big piece of their success when they went to the finals. We're not sure if they're gonna make moves yet. They got back Dario Saric this past season from the torn ACL. They look good, and I'm more and more. We're gonna get into another episode where we talk about our favorites to come out the West and East. But right now, they're my early favorites to come out the West. So I don't think it's too far fetched for them.
No, I agree for sure. I mean, we got it's all flash right now in the West. You got Memphis, you got the Pelicans doing their thing. You got Denver. It's all flash. It's all the young guys, doing their thing for sure. But with this Suns team, they look dangerous and they look like they're gonna do something.
They do.
Like
they do.
I really see this team
for them to overcome
just elevating.
I'm sorry. For them to overcome the whole thing with Monty Williams, like not talking to Aiden, and that whole conflict where Aiden felt like he didn't want to be there, and now he's slowly starting to buy in instead of him just being like, "Oh, we will just sign him and trade him later." I think that's the big thing that they've overcome so far. It's kind of some adversity in itself there. How do you feel about Aiden bouncing back and possibly getting a bigger role now that CP3 is sitting out?
I think it's good for him to get that experience because with the guy like Chris Paul, you don't know if he's going to be there and around in the April, May, June playoff slot.
Yeah.
It's really key for him to get these minutes and his time with the team that's going to be around him now. Because the
Mm-hmm.
guys around him now, if he ends up being there in the playoffs, it's going to be the same guys. It's good that he gets familiar with these guys, builds the chemistry, because in the playoffs, that's one thing I always tell people. You can say anything you want going in these early months of the season about the playoffs, but the playoffs are a different breed. They're unpredictable. Things happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's perfect right now for Aiden because he's getting the experience. He's getting the chemistry. It's his time right now. Just get familiar and get that build up going because who knows if Chris is going to be around by that time.
Yeah. We saw Aiden be dominant in that playoff run when they went to the
Yeah,
finals. He
yeah,
was arguably their second best player. I mean, at the time CP3 was
easily.
obviously killing it, but when CP3 was going out with injuries, Aiden was always the backbone, like where
Hmm.
he's always giving you 20 and 10 that whole playoff run. And
Yeah,
I think he can get back to it. And the more we talk about it, the more I'm talking myself into them being my favorites besides the Clippers.
yeah,
I think this is a team where Devin Booker, we've seen how he's in the playoffs, and he just gets better and better every year. So hopefully this could be the year they're under the radar, like we said, and hopefully they can have some success. And it'd be nice to see CP3 get another chance at getting a ring.
yeah,
So as well as Devin Booker. Anyways, we're gonna move on. So a team that lost tonight that got kind of uh, they it hasn't been looking pretty for them. The Chicago Bulls, they re-signed Billy Donovan earlier this week. He's had some success. They brought them
yeah,
to the first time the playoff appearance for the first time in a couple years since they
yeah.
had D Rose, Joakim Noah. What were your thoughts on resigning them? Because Palma, our other co-host who is not here today, said this would be a team that could be a seller as far as selling Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White, some of the players on the team. How do you feel about them resigning Billy Donovan?
Well, Billy Donovan, he's a big name. He has a
Mm-hmm.
reputation in the league. He has history in the league, and I think what he did with the Bulls last year was amazing. Because before that, the Bulls were just up and down, up and down. And I think what's happening with the franchise right now is they're just buying into this whole lineup that they're building, and I don't think they're done building it. Like with the lineup they put together last year, with Levine, Vucevic, it worked. It definitely worked. I think right now they're just still trying to figure it out. They're still trying to figure it out. They know that Donovan got them there last year, and
Yeah.
that's great. The problem that I'm worried about with them is they can't jump the gun on that. It was one season they made the playoffs. You just can't think that, oh, we made the playoffs last year. Oh, we have the momentum. It's going to be the same thing. Let's run it back.
Mm-mm.
I think right now they're just kind of in a hurry. They need to trust the process. And I think honestly, it's a good move for Chicago. You're not seeing the results yet, but I do agree with Palma about selling. I think that you can get valuable assets for Vucevic down the line,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily for your starting five, but just for your bench. You need key role players because their starting five on paper, it's looking good. And I think what matters more with this team not is the starting five, but you need the shooters. You need the shooters to come off the bench. I think right now that Chicago team just doesn't have it.
Yeah, I also don't think they have good perimeter defense as
Yeah,
far as Caruso. I think I would assume was a steal for them in the second round. Lonzo Ball is like their glue guy, and he's just
yeah,
always getting hurt, and you invested all that money into him.
mm-hmm.
And for a team that has so much perimeter defense, they have no interior defense, none.
Yeah,
Vucevic, he's been rebounding the ball pretty good this year, but he's just
mm-hmm.
not who they want him to be.
Yeah,
Um, you got Andre Drummond, who's been a serviceable backup big, but not a big impact on the whole team.
yeah,
I think they should retool, man. I think they should blow up in certain areas.
mm-hmm.
Also, it's having DeMar on the team where you expected Zach Levine to be your best player is kind of a bad thing in itself because Zach Levine can't at times thrive. Like it's hey, DeMar's a vet. DeMar's the one that's carrying us. At what point are they gonna let Zach Levine get the keys? So maybe
Yeah,
they sell high on DeMar. You got him as a free agent, although you did sign and trade some draft picks, whatever. Maybe you sell him high and get some guys that complement Zach Levine better or can help fill out their interior defense.
No, yeah, I completely agree. It's a great take for sure. The problem is, I think what you said it was Levine. He's hit or miss a lot of times. He's a great player. He'll get you the
Mm-hmm.
numbers. He'll put you in a position to win. I just think his problem is he doesn't do it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
there's nothing wrong with DeMar being that guy because every team needs that guy to step up that has a leadership role. And right now, from what I'm seeing, DeMar is being that guy. And it's unfortunate because I agree with what you're saying. Zach's supposed to be the number one, not DeMar.
yeah.
But I think you can kind of just rally around DeMar for the time being. Like I said, we're still
Mm-hmm.
early in the season,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know right now the results aren't showing, but every player just needs that one guy. That's all it takes. But
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you on Zach. I mean, if the Bulls are going to be at least maybe sneak in, because I know what are they right now? They're 12,
They're
13.
like, yeah, they're outside the playoff
Yeah, I
bracket.
mean, they can maybe make a push for the plan. I mean, but I think with this Bulls team, they just can't get
Close.
impatient. I really don't want them to get impatient. I just think they can trust this process, especially with Billy Donovan
Mm-hmm.
being there another year. But I didn't even think about what you said about DeMar. I mean, DeMar could also be a good guy to get out of there to bring in. I think you can get
I
more valuable assets out of DeMar.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, sometimes the goal of certain teams that have that, for example, they were a lottery team for the past like 3 years. They had
Mm-hmm.
White, Kobe White, Markkinen, Patrick Williams. Like
Yeah,
sometimes the goal for some of these teams are just to be good and make the playoffs and just to make
yeah,
some money. Like get fans in the seats.
yeah.
Um,
And that's okay.
but
That's okay.
and it's okay. It's okay. But I think Zach Levine has to step up and be that number one if they want to have some true success. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
don't. I think for me, what I've seen this past season is I like when organizations put pressure on some of these people, like as far as players, coaches, where it may be stressful for them, but sometimes you get the best results when you see guys around the league like Sean Marks with the Nets, who gets an extension with amid all the stuff going on. You
Right.
have to fire your head coach. Get the Lakers. Rob Pelinka gets an extension. You still have what's going on, although the Lakers are playing better.
Yeah.
The Bulls haven't really done anything. They made one playoff appearance, and
Mm-hmm.
usually the one thing that you can really change to fix your team is the coaching position. And now
Yeah.
you locked in your coach, who is a good coach. You said he's
Mm-hmm.
known around the league. He has some status. But you're kind of this kind of means you're going all in on the group you have because they can't really make any moves. They have no draft picks to go get good amounts of players. So I guess they're just gonna hold off. And like you said, we're only 20 games into the season, so
Mm-hmm.
they have plenty of time. Lonzo Ball could come back. They could go on a big run.
Yeah.
But right now, I just question the move. I think the timing was just too soon. I would like to see this
Agreed.
later down the line, maybe even next
Yeah.
next summer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, a team where a guy, like we said, almost had a 50 piece today. Jason Tatum had 49 points today. He's looked like the MVP this season, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's been balling out. He's taken another step.
Yeah.
This Boston Celtics team just hasn't missed a stride, man. I mean, Joe Mazzulla has done a phenomenal job, a guy that could come in and win Coach of the Year. Should they be the favorite to win this year's championship?
I honestly strongly do believe they are the favorites. They're my favorites out the East for sure. Last year I think with this team, I think every year it's that everyone expects them to not do what they did the year prior, but
Mm-hmm.
no one is acknowledging the fact this team gets better every single year.
Every year, and the
Tatum
same
gets
group,
better
same group.
every single year, and it's the same group with Smart and Tatum. You know, and I think what happened last year in the finals with is they just approached it completely wrong. They did everything right to get there. I just think they
Mm-hmm.
approached that Warriors team completely wrong in regards to defense. This year, they're coming out the gate hot. They're the first seed in the East.
They're hungry.
They're hungry. And they're setting their staple into this league. And I think they're just going to keep getting better and better. This team is just deep. They get everything out of their other guys. And they're just set for another big playoff push. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now in the East, I don't see anyone that can take them down in a 7-game series. You
Yeah,
know,
I guess the only team you could say could, and the only
Mhm.
thing that can stop them is the Milwaukee Bucks. But
Mhm.
Chris Middleton's not healthy. He hasn't been back, and that's the reason why the Celtics
Yeah,
beat the Bucks. All they went to Game 7,
exactly.
um, and just for the Bucks, they Chris Middleton needs to be healthy. But right now, bro, the Celtics look really really good. And I think right now you see there was always that talk about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown coexisting, playing together, and obviously they got to the finals. But even this year, I feel like they've gotten even better at just
Yeah.
playing together and picking their spots and finding the right times to attack. I think
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Brogdon has been a huge addition for this team. They found
Huge.
guys like
Huge.
Luke Cornett, Sam Hauser, some dudes on the bench where it's like, hey, these guys can contribute and give us some
Yeah.
good minutes.
And that's
Marcus
what you need.
Smart has improved as a 3 point shooter yet again. Defensively, we know what he brings. Um, I the Celtics team is my favorite to come out the East. So maybe we see either people talk about a rematch between Golden State and Boston.
Mm.
I think no matter who comes out the West, the
Yeah.
Celtics are a serious threat because the cohesiveness, the group that they've had, this core group has been together for
Yeah.
almost 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's the word for me? That's player development at its finest, right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think the fact that they could respond how they have with the new coach just shows
Yeah.
that some of the things that people think a coach brings, they don't really need it. Like they know how to play with each other. They know how to road like rotation stuff like that, where they're just in sync. So I would say they're my favorites coming out the East, and I think they're probably the favorites to win the championship this year.
Yeah, I mean the consistency is definitely key with this team, and they've been there. That's what's benefited this team the most. They've been there. They know that feeling
Mm-hmm.
of losing that finals, and you know what? That's only going to make them hungrier and more dangerous. Now that they've been there, they know what it's like. They're going to be ready. They're going to be more ready. This team is it's just like a bottle of soda just waiting to open up. They're right there. They're right there. I mean, it's Eastern Conference Finals appearances. It's finals appearances. They
Yeah,
haven't done it yet, but they're gonna get it. I
like
think
like we
I think
talked about.
yeah, they're
My
hungry.
bad, not to cut you off, but not like we talked about. Like they got to go through that adversity, that hump, where it's like we keep losing. Where it's like, all right, we're hungry this year. Nothing's gonna stop us and get in our way.
Yeah,
So this might be the year.
for sure, definitely.
So this might be a curveball. It's not on the topic list, but the Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic has been like absurd. Like
Yeah,
he's taken over, averaging that he has the most 30-point triple doubles in the league.
yeah.
Um, this is like I said, this is a curveball, so take your time with your answer. Do the Mavericks need a second star player alongside Luka Doncic? Because
Uh,
we've seen them with Kristaps Porzingis,
mhm,
Jalen Brunson. I want to say superstar or star, but he was a pretty good player.
yeah.
They tried doing it with Christian Wood. He hasn't bought into the defense yet, which I'm sure he will, and by playoff time he'll be getting more minutes. How would you address the situation with Luka Doncic? Because right now they sit at ninth spot. They're 10-10.
Mhm.
Um, how would you go about it if you were in Dallas?
It's a really tricky thing with Dallas. Every year, I tell this to my dad. I tell this to all my friends. They need to put talent around Luca, or else his
Mm-hmm.
team's not going to get anywhere. Yeah, they went to the conference finals last year. That's impressive. But the problem is you need a solidified star with Luca. You can get good players, but you need a star with Luca. I think the good thing with Dallas is you're getting the same chemistry in the same group that's been together for a while, like
Mm-hmm.
Boston with Finney Smith and
Yeah.
Hardaway. Hardaway is a solid player. I've praised Hardaway forever. He's a solid knockdown shooter. They're
Mm-hmm.
good players that are around Luca, and they perform well. But you need when Luca is off the bench, you need that other guy to follow through. Luca
Yeah.
can't be carrying the load every single night. A
Mm-hmm.
prime example of that was Clippers Dallas game a couple weeks back. And Luca was just carrying the load, carrying the load. I mean, they ended up winning the game because you know what? Another guy luckily made his shots at night, but you can't rely on that every single
Yeah.
night. You need a solidified star, great player okay, Luca's out. Let's put this guy in. And I don't know what's going to take for them to do that, considering Christian was not working. They got rid of Brunson. You know, it's really tricky with Dallas. But I think if they're going to get over the hump, they just need one more star because I
Yeah.
mean, there's been multiple playoff runs where these guys that have been with them for a while, Penny Smith, Hardaway, Kleba,
Mm-hmm.
they've been there, but they can't get over the hump, and it's not going to change unless they get a solidified number two for them.
It's different with guys like Luca because Luca
Mhm.
is like a LeBron, like a
Yeah,
Kobe, like a Michael Jordan, where it's like these dudes are like greatness right here. And
Yeah.
I guess with Luca and kind of you look at LeBron when in his first stint with the Cavs, like they tried getting him a star superstar, a second stars player. Maybe with Luca, you just need star role players. But part of that is they rely too much on these guys to either hit shots or just play really good defense. Because it's either they live and die by the three, and we saw last season in the playoffs, like they died by the three when it wasn't
Yeah.
falling. And you can only do so much with Luca. The Porzingis experiment didn't work.
No.
Brunson was really good. They try to expect a bigger role from Dinwiddie, but sometimes it's just unrealistic, or sometimes guys just thrive in the small role that they have.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say I don't know, man. There's not that many targets around the league, but like you look at LeBron, the one time that he didn't have a quote unquote superstar team, a big three, was with the Lakers when he had a guy like AD, another superstar talent, and then they filled out the roster with good role players. So
Yeah.
they have those role players. They just need to bring in that second superstar. So hopefully soon something opens up. And our next episode, we're gonna one of the topics I have is like who's gonna be the next superstar player to
Hmm.
request a trade. And not to keep jumping different topics, but I think in the East, Joel Embiid is the guy that I don't think it's gonna work there in Philly. I really don't think it's gonna work there in Philly. So maybe we might see something like that where Joel and Luca. It sounds crazy now, but sometimes things just fall into place.
Yeah.
So I think
Go up and down
that's
Philly.
the ideal
Right?
kind of player.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, anyways, I want to talk. I mean, we still got some time, so I want to talk about the Clippers. You're a big Clipper fan. We know that. We've had a first hand seat. Literally this year, we've had a
Yeah.
first hand seat of the
Yeah.
team. What are your thoughts so far? They had a pretty impressive win in Portland, I believe last night. Where it was the
Yeah.
first night of a back to back for the Portland Trailblazers. So Norman Powell balled out, and he's starting to catch some strides. So how are you feeling about this Clippers team right now?
Me and who've had many talks about this, considering we're in the building when they're playing, and I'm blessed to be there, But
Mm-hmm.
seeing this team so far, it's a lot of the same of how every season's started this year, I think the great thing about this Clipper team is their depth, and it's showing. It showed the last 2 years because Kawhi and PG are just not reliable with their health. And you have your Norman Powell's, you have your Terrence Manns, you have your Reggie Jacksons. The beautiful thing about this team is every night it's a different player, at least giving you something. You're gonna get a solid night out of at least one of these players. I think the problem with this team, and I've praised it time and time again, is the lack of chemistry that this team is gonna have. Because the way that Ty Lue runs this team, it's different lineup every single night. And it's great for one thing to have good players that can get good numbers out every night, but they need to get familiar with each other. And I think it's kind of rocky up and down with how Kawhi and PG are not in the mix. Even Luke Kennard's
Mm-hmm.
been out, but
Yeah.
they're in a
Mm-hmm.
good spot in the West right now. I'm happy with where they're at in the West, all considered with the injuries. But I would love to see Kawhi and PG just make some sort of effort to come back and put some chemistry and put some win streaks together, because I they keep messing around like this, with their injuries. And I get it, injuries happen, but if they're not careful, they're going to be a higher seed,
Mm-hmm.
and or a lower seed, and then they're going to play someone more difficult in the first round. It might be tough.
Yeah, they're
I
playing a
like what,
dangerous game. I think
yeah.
they're playing a dangerous game, man. I think you have the pieces there, but you like when the Lakers won the championship before the virus happened,
Mhm.
they just played every game. It was a collect like it was just you could tell from day one it was there.
Yeah.
And when you see teams that are like, hey, the first 2 months don't really matter, we'll
Yeah.
pick it up around January, February. It kind of bites you back in the butt sometimes. But you know what? I think the group of guys that we have, even just seeing them around the arena or whatever, like I think Reggie Jackson's a cool ass dude. I think
Oh yeah.
he's dabbing up everybody. He's cool as
Funny
hell.
as
He's
hell.
cool, man. And I think you have guys like that on there and like selfless guys that at that, he's a guy
Right.
that doesn't mind coming off the bench. John Wall doesn't mind coming off the bench. You got some guys that have bought in, but now you
Mhm.
just gotta wait and see it on the court. So
Yeah.
I guess that's just the next step for the Clippers, but it's like when is that gonna happen? Because Paul George, Kawhi Paul George out of nowhere just out indefinitely.
Yeah.
No timetable, no nothing, and it's
Yeah.
like Kawhi comes back and he's done for however long. It's just
Yeah.
it's weird, like what kind of message you send to your teams and to your fans as well, man. You got people although the Clipper tickets are quite affordable. But
And they're like
you got
it's
people
like
paying
$2
money.
nosebleeds.
Yeah, you still got people paying money to go see a show,
Of
man.
course,
But
of
I
course.
think they've had some good additions so far. Like I mean, I think Musa Diabate last night in Portland
Yeah,
balled out. He was
great.
a gem there.
Yeah,
Moses Brown, we talked about it the other day when we were watching the game.
yeah,
Moses Brown gave us some good minutes the other night,
yeah.
and Ivica Zubac. How can you forget about the
30
30 and
for
30?
30,
You
almost a
know,
30-30.
29, yeah. But still, like you got some good gems there.
Mhm.
I would just really love to see this team like come together and just be like, hey, we're here and we're like no one's gonna stop us, you know.
Yeah,
Um, and the Clippers are due for some big success, so
yeah.
hopefully this season we can get some more. Do you have any last thoughts on the Clippers team?
Yeah, I was gonna make a one more quick point about that. I think there's one thing I saw with the earlier 2013, 2014 era Clippers that I'm not seeing in this team. And it's just kind of what you're mentioning. You want to put these wins together. You want to beat the bad
Mm-hmm.
teams by a lot. You got to take care of business. You got to put together win streaks. This Clippers team, they play to their competition every single game. I think that's a big doubt with this team right now is when they play a team that they're obviously better than, they don't go out and beat them and take care of business. They always make
Mm-hmm.
it interesting. They don't take advantage. They can't really beat anyone by a lot. Every now and then they will, but I think that's what this team's missing right now is that killer instinct and
Yeah,
handling the
that's a
business.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
think you said it perfectly.
yeah, because it's good that you're winning, but when you're winning against these teams that you're obviously way better than by 5 or 6 points, it's a win, but you should be better than that because they are better than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think you knocked it on the head right there. You need a
yeah,
killer instinct. Kawhi
yeah,
is that killer. Paul
yeah.
George can be that killer. It's
Hmm.
just when you don't like. I don't know. I just hate that. I hate when if you're able to play, play. Like
It's frustrating.
unless you're hurt, bro, you shouldn't be playing at all. You know, you shouldn't be
Yeah,
playing one week and not the other week, and then again the other week. It's just it can really throw off a team, and that culture needs to be set from day one. You know, I
hmm,
think they slacked off a little bit, but you know what? Like you said earlier, it's only the first two months, first month and a half
yeah,
of the NBA season, but we got a lot more to go. Hopefully
yeah.
they come back soon. We get some more good basketball. I mean, I think basketball's been really good recently. So
Yeah,
hopefully we get that going. So
yes, sir.
that's gonna be the end of this episode. Jaden, thank you so much for
Thank,
joining. I'm looking
thank
forward to
you,
have
man.
you on to a lot more episodes, man.
It was awesome, man. Thanks for having me, man. It
Yep.
was great.
We're signing off, guys. Peace.